Hello, everybody. Welcome back to part 2 of Goblin Viewz. Spider-Man 2.
Unwarranted part 2.
Unwarranted part 2, just because the game fucking crashed. So that's fucking radical. But, you know, people don't mind 2-part reviews, so I watch them all the time, so you can too.
Country girls make do.
Country girls do make a do. But that being said, where we were last left off, we were at the bank scene.
Mm-hmm.
And would you care to elaborate on the bank scene, Akasha?
Doc Ock throws money at Peter, which is stupid. Peter goes, I ain't getting hit by this money. He doesn't get hit by the money. Aunt May gets kidnapped out of the bank after all this destruction has gone on. And then they fight in New York City, and it's like the fucking coolest fight. It's so good.
Well, okay, so
Yes?
I just want to say excuse us if we're a little scatterbrained on the exact events of this movie, because we have started actually writing down notes and stuff during these reviews, but we just didn't for Spider-Man 2.
Which was stupid, but...
Yeah, which was dumb of us, and
but
we
said,
apologize. But
country girls make do.
Country girls do make do, and we will tell you the events of the story. They just might not happen in sequence. So obviously they fight, but this does not lead into the train fight. This is
No, I'm not saying the train fight. I'm saying the building fight.
Okay. So
where Aunt May is on the building.
Oh yeah.
She fucking slaps him in the face.
Doc Ock fucking kidnaps Aunt May. And tries to fool with Spider-Man, and Aunt May kicks Doc Ock's ass, and that's basically the scene.
Yeah, Aunt May fucking slaps him across the eye with her cane.
Yeah, she breaks his fucking glasses. I mean, it's a lot cooler of a scene. We're not... It's hard to explain action scenes in a review.
I know,
really.
It's just
especially
cool action.
Especially when we can't give you guys the actual visual of the movie. Plus, it's like, if we were doing a review, I doubt I could put that fucking action scene in a review anyway. But it's just like... It's probably... No, it's not the best action scene in the movie for me, but it's really fucking good.
It is really good. And it's fun, too, because Aunt May is in it as well.
Yeah, and she actually... It's fun to see Aunt May just beat the shit out of someone.
And at the end of the fight, Spider... I can't remember, but basically she takes all the credit for the fight, and I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, I kicked Doc Ock's ass.
Yeah. So, I know we haven't really been talking about it, but it's just because it's just ongoing scenes of Peter being depressed and not being able to, handle being Spider-Man and Peter Parker, but at a certain point, it all culminates where he's like, can't I make a choice for myself? And he goes to the doctor, and the doctor gives him the advice to make a choice for himself. And the choice
and the doctor is his Jacob's Ladder chiropractor therapist.
Yeah, he gives him all the advice that makes him make the decision for the movie. That, for some reason, is, the selling point for the movie, but doesn't happen until well over halfway in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But he quits being Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm. And his life becomes awesome.
Not really. I mean, he becomes, better at school. I think I'm not eating enough. I just got really lightheaded, but it just goes away the second I put food in my mouth, praying it's nothing. Well, just eat. I get that all the time. It's because I don't eat either. Make sure you're just eating 3 meals a day. I know it's hard to fucking eat breakfast. This is such a fucking...
I know.
But I know it's hard to eat breakfast. I have a fucking awful time eating breakfast, but... it's better to eat than not. But I hope you feel better after eating, Rose. But either way, he stops being Spider-Man, which, he does get better grades in class.
He goes and sees MJ's play.
Yeah, he gets to finally see MJ's play, which is a thing that's going on in the movie that we didn't really discuss.
It's not too important. It's just that she wants him to be there, and then he quits being Spider-Man, and then he's there for her.
Yeah. I guess the only notable part is that's the Bruce Campbell cameo. Is that part where he's the usher for the play or whatever, and he won't let him in.
Yeah.
That's his scene of the movie.
He got kicked out of the play the night before when he was doing Spider-Man stuff.
Yeah.
But then he stops doing Spider-Man stuff and he gets to go see the fucking funny-ass Oscar Wilde play, The Importance of Being Earnest.
Yeah.
Which I thought that was funny because it's definitely like a parallel hint in the movie where they're like, like it's a guy, it's actually two guys. It's two guys pretending to be people they actually aren't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, so Peter, his life gets better in that regard, but crime, literally, from the Daily Bugle, it says it goes up, 75%?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, crime goes up, 75%. The spider suit was found in the trash, and the Daily Bugle finds it. And here comes the only deleted scene in the movie that, for me, feels like it needed to be in the movie, but I mean, obviously, not needed. I just would have liked it to be in the movie. But okay, so the scene that is the deleted scene that I like a lot is once the Daily Bugle finds the spider suit, there is a deleted scene where J. Jonah is playing around in his office dressed in the spider suit, and the insinuation is that the whole reason J. Jonah Jameson actually hates Spider-Man is that he's just really, really jealous of him. And I really like that, explanation.
Yeah.
Because it makes so much sense, because who the fuck wouldn't be jealous of Spider-Man? And it's just interesting because he's the only person that's, got enough power to be able to slander Spider-Man with getting away with it. And he just happens to also be really jealous of him.
Yeah.
I really like that. But, it's a deleted scene, so obviously it's not in the final movie, but just wanted to mention it because I do like the scene quite a bit. Do you like that scene?
I do, yeah, it's fun. It's literally 20 seconds.
It's literally 20 seconds, and it doesn't really add anything, but, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
What? Basically, after Peter realizes he's made a fucking stupid decision, he becomes Spider-Man again?
Well,
what happens?
First, Doc Ock goes to visit Harry to get the fucking tritium.
Oh, okay, yes. Okay,
and
so
the
tritium,
starts
which
the end of the movie.
Wait, we haven't even mentioned what the tritium is. The tritium is this activating ingredient that makes the fucking science project. It's the baking soda in his fucking baking soda volcano, basically.
Yes, exactly.
And he needs it because Harry Osborn's company is the only company that has any of it.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes to Harry saying, hey, you give me this or I'll kill you. And Harry says, hey, I'll give you this, but you have to kill you have to bring me Spider-Man. And Otto's like, okay. And he's like, but how do I find Spider-Man since he's retired? Or whatever. And he's like, well, Peter Parker... And this is the decision that we were talking about that Harry makes, is he says, Peter Parker is the one who takes the pictures of Spider-Man. And it's like, holy fuck, did he just seriously say that?
Yeah, he just fucking put his friend in danger.
It's like, that's the final decision, because it's like, Harry doesn't know that Peter is Spider-Man, but that's the breaking point for where Harry... And that's the most interesting thing he does in the movie, and then he fucks off for the rest of the movie, basically. Right? He's not in the... He's
well, until he brings him Spider-Man.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't... I mean, yeah, I guess it does matter a little bit, but...
Yeah.
I don't know, it just feels... I don't know why. It's just the James Franco bits feel so lackluster in this movie.
Whiny.
Is it just because they're so whiny? Is that why I think they're so lame?
He's just a bitch.
But it's things do happen with him in this movie, but for me, they just seem not important.
Yeah, even though they are.
Even though, what you're, alluding to, I just remembered, and you're like, yeah, that is actually one of the most important things in the fucking movie for his character.
Yeah.
But it's just, I forgot it because he is the worst part of this movie, like we said.
Mm-hmm. But now we go to the train scene.
Yeah, so, well, hold on. So, Dr. Octopus throws a fucking car through a cafe at Peter Parker.
While he's talking to MJ.
And he kidnaps MJ, and he's like, listen, you better fucking bring me Spider-Man, or I'm gonna kill this bitch.
Mm-hmm.
And Peter Parker's, well, shit, I gotta be Spider-Man
do
again.
it, yeah. He's just like, I probably gotta be Spider-Man for this. I don't know.
So he finally dons the suit again, and we do get to the best action scene in the entire movie.
Well, he doesn't just don the suit; he steals it out of Jameson's office.
Yeah, it's funny because that is like another funny moment where Jameson like comes to terms where he's like, you know what, Spider-Man was a hero, and then Spider-Man just steals the suit out of his office, and he's like, no, he's a villain, he's a criminal. Which I really like.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, I like that quite a bit.
Yeah.
Like I said, J. Jonah Jameson, J.K. Simmons is just like a fucking national treasure in these movies. He's so fucking good. Which makes me hope that we get him a lot more in the new Spider-Man movie. It seems like they are going to make him be in a lot more, but we'll discuss that, I guess, when we get to more of the Tom Holland films.
But now they fight.
Yeah, now they fight on the train.
Because he met him at the building, and then during the fight, they fell off it onto the fucking train.
Onto, like, the subway, rail, and the train just happened to be coming, and then they're fighting on top of it, or whatever, right?
Which is awesome, and...
It's the best fight in the entire movie.
They're fucking fighting sideways on the train. It's nuts.
They're he's, like, throwing Spider-Man, like, through the windows of the train, and Spider-Man's, like, coming out the other side and shit. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But, you know, he kicks his ass a bit, and it culminates in him destroying the controls to the train.
Yeah, Doc Ock destroys the controls.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, you were just saying a lot of he's, and
yeah.
They're both, you know, he's, and I was just like, you better specify which is which, dude.
Yeah, but anyway, Doc Ock destroys the controls, tells Spider-Man he's got a train to catch, and fucking ducks.
Which is so funny.
Which is really funny. He gives him one of the fucking quirks that... Honestly, I'm gonna just find a screenshot of him doing that smirk and make that the thumbnail of this review.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the perfect thumbnail.
It's so funny. He looks so, like, smug.
Yeah.
He looks so smug.
But, anyway, he fucks off, and we get... I mean, I know you didn't grow up with these movies, but I think I think the train scene is probably the most iconic scene in this movie.
In all these movies?
In all of these movies, yes.
Yeah.
I would say this is probably the most iconic movie, like, Spider-Man moment of all of these moments, or movie. I have mushmouth, Jesus Christ. The most impactful moment of all of these movies. It's just like, it's perfect in every way. So we all know this scene, but we're just going to talk about it because it is the scene. I want you to talk about it since it is your first time seeing it.
Okay. So he has to stop the train. Obviously, it's the thing where he's using the webs to stop it and just barely does. And it's so exhausting for him.
Well, wait, he's also lost his mask because it caught on fire because of the engine of the train or whatever.
Yeah.
So he's maskless, and all the people in the train have seen his face at this point.
Yes, exactly.
But it's like, at this point, he can't care because they're going to die if he, like, fucks around.
Tries to pick up his mask.
Yeah, and like, oh, I gotta care about this shit. But, yeah. So it's like, it's that impactful because it's like, I'm even getting goosebumps just thinking about this scene.
Really?
Yes, because this scene has meant this much to me throughout, like, the entirety of my childhood. Like, just seeing people come together and like, I know the first movie has its, like, oh, the people of New York, like, throw the stuff at the Green Goblin and help Spider-Man in that one scene. But they quite literally save Spider-Man's life in this movie.
Yeah.
And it's like, the music and the acting, and just everything in this scene comes together to be one of the most, like, perfect scenes, like, ever made, I think. Honestly, like, not even, like, being like, oh, like, superhero movie. I think this is, like, it's honestly one of the most perfect scenes, like, ever.
Wow, really?
Yes. I think it's that good. I mean, it evokes so much emotion. It triumphant, sad, you know, like, everything. You're feeling defeated just as Spider-Man is, but you're also feeling, like, solidarity because these people come together to save, like... It's just so, anyway, continue talking about, like, what was your experience with it, I guess?
I did think it's like worth the praise. It's a really emotional scene, and I think it's better than the one in the other movie, like we were saying, just because it's like, I don't know, they just go the extra step where they're like, we appreciate what you do for our city so much that we're not even... Like, we totally respect your privacy.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and that's the thing about it, too, is it's like, I can't think of an instance in superhero media where it's like this mass amount of people see the superhero's face and no one ever says anything about it. It's like...
It's not a problem.
Seeing that as a kid... like, was actually life-changing.
Really?
It really was. It, like, in a weird way, it really was. Like, watching those little kids hand Spider-Man his mask, like, actually meant something.
Aww.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's sweet.
I'm getting fucking choked up just, like, thinking about it. Jesus Christ. But, yeah, it's just a really good scene. But
then Doc Ock fucking ruins it.
by doing what?
He fucking swings his big fat cock into the train and he goes, "Give me Spider-Man," and they go,
Yeah, and then big pussy poppin' Zero from The Sopranos goes, "If you want to get the Spider-Man, you gotta get through us."
And Doc Ock goes, "Okay, loser."
And he fucking kills him. No, he doesn't kill him.
No, he doesn't kill him. He just sweeps them all to the side and grabs Spider-Man, because it's like, what the fuck are these people gonna do?
Yeah, so Doc Ock then he knocks him out and then brings Spider-Man to Harry Osborn's man cave.
Yeah.
The Goblin Cave, if we will.
Where he has, like, baseball cards framed on the wall and stuff.
Yeah,
and
he's got, well, no, he does, you say that, but he literally has tribal masks littered on the wall.
And a Baby Yoda sitting on his desk, and, you know.
Funko Pops littered on his fucking floor.
Just the huge. But anyway.
Anyway, you know, the usual rich thing. NFTs scrawled across his forehead.
Yeah.
Anyway. So I guess the only really impact of this moment is that Dr. Octopus leaves Harry Spider-Man and he unmasks him and figures out that Spider-Man's Peter Parker.
And then Peter doesn't say anything and fucks off.
Yeah, he tells Harry that Dr. Octopus has Mary Jane, which, I mean, fair enough, like, he lets him go or whatever, and that's about it.
Then they go fight again.
It's like, it is an impactful scene for him figuring it out. Like, that scene particularly I do like with James Franco, but it's just like, everything else leading up to it just feels so, like we said, lackluster, that it does just kind of... It is the only really important scene for Harry, it seems, in that movie, is to figure out that Peter Parker is Spider-Man so that the third movie arc for him can work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which is crazy, because we'll get to it, but, like, I actually think that arc in the third movie is the strongest part of that fucking movie.
Yeah.
Anyhow... he goes to rescue Mary Jane at the lab where he's recreating the Big Bang. The little sun thing. And the threat is that it's gonna, like, blow up half of New York City.
Yeah.
And so he goes to try to sneakily rescue Mary Jane. But there's another cheeky little thing where Spider-Man comes into the lab and Otto immediately knows that he's there, and he gives a little smirk.
Well, it's because the tentacles notice it, and they can obviously talk to him in this movie or whatever. It's, I don't know, it's like, God, Doc Ock, I know we already had a little section in the first bit where we fangirled over Doc Ock, but god damn, he's just so good in this fucking movie.
Yeah, he is.
But Spider-Man starts kicking ass, taking names, kicks Otto into some water, breaks the inhibitor chip. His mask gets all fucked up.
Yeah.
So Mary Jane, who's there, now sees that Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Yeah, and Doc Ock also sees that it's Peter.
Yeah, so the inhibitor chip is, like, broken, so he's, like, able to regain consciousness of his self, basically, because I guess the inhibitor chip just basically takes over his entire goddamn consciousness.
I thought that it was that the tentacles, were having a hard time in water because they're electric. I didn't think it had anything to do with the inhibitor.
No, it got destroyed, remember? Because there's, like, a shot of it being broken. He, like, feels it on the back of his neck, and it pans to it, and it's, like, broken.
But it was broken before, that's the point.
Yeah, but it's, like, more broken is what I'm saying.
More broken?
I don't fucking know.
What?
They give it another shot. Didn't it get destroyed? It did get destroyed in the beginning, though. I'm saying, like, I'm pretty sure it gets, like... I don't know. Maybe it just... maybe it is just...
No, it's just that he's in the water, and it makes his electronic tentacles, like, fuck up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
Because the inhibitor chip doesn't matter anymore. It already got destroyed.
Oh, yeah, the inhibitor chip was just to make sure that they can't do anything.
Yeah, that he has control.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm fucking up my,
Bro, it's like having GLaDOS strapped to your back.
Yeah, basically. But...
They have a lovely little talk together.
Yeah, where Otto apologizes, and you realize that basically throughout this entire movie, it's kind of like, spoilers for Harry Potter 4 if you fucking haven't read Harry Potter 4, but it's kind of like the Mad Eye thing, where it's just, you kind of realize that you haven't even, like, seen actual Otto Octavius throughout most of this actual movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just been him possessed, and I mean, it's the same thing kind of in... the first one with Norman or whatever, but with Norman it's more of like a Jekyll and Hyde thing where he like is fine with what he's doing at the end, but with Otto, he's not really aware of what he's doing until the very end of the movie, and it makes you feel very upset.
Yeah. And he gives a little speech where he's like, you need to give it up for the greater good. And so then Doc Ock is like, okay, well, I'm gonna destroy my machine, because Peter volunteers to do it.
Yeah, they figure out that the only way that they can destroy it is by drowning it in the lake, because, like I said earlier...
In the river.
In the river, because, like I said earlier, the lab that they're on is on, like, a little harbor or whatever.
Well, they're in New York.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, that lab specifically...
Oh,
like,
yeah, the lab's right next to the water.
It's not, like, in Norman Oscorp labs or anything, you know what I mean? It's, like, in a isolated building.
Yeah, it's been dollar store GLaDOS possessing him.
But yeah, he decides to destroy it, and he does. He
fucking expires.
He sacrifices himself to take care of it and sinks into the bottom of the river with it. And Peter saves Mary Jane by, there's a couple final scenes where there's some, like, debris and shit coming towards them, and he has to save her, but at the end of the day, he gets out of there, and,
They get together?
Well, no, they still decide not to end up together, but we haven't discussed, really, the MJ plotline that she's getting married. Because
it's so basic.
Yeah, it's so basic, but she's getting married anyway. And she leaves the marriage for Peter in the end.
Yeah.
And the movie ends with her showing up at Peter's door, with her in her wedding dress or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's the end of Spider-Man 2.
Except
there. So before we even get into this scene, I just want to say that this is like This is like one of the first instances I can think of like a superhero movie having a post-credit, not necessarily a post-credit cutscene because it happens during the movie.
It does.
But it's the same vibe. It's the same vibe because it's literally just a scene to tease the fact that there's going to be a third movie or whatever. So, do you want to talk about the scene?
Rose said LMAO. That reminds me of that old PlayStation game cutscene where she's like, Peter, save me, and then he jumps and flops into the fire.
Yeah, the Spider-Man 3 PlayStation 3 Xbox 360 game.
Yeah. But yeah,
I played that when I was a kid. But...
So, there's fucking ghosts in this movie. So the ghost of Norman Osborn shows up to a fucked up, drunk Harry who's upset because he just figured out that his best friend is Spider-Man.
The person he's been trying to kill this whole movie.
Yeah, and Norman goes, Harry, fucking kill your best friend. Kill him! He goes, avenge me!
and then, well, you jokingly do the avenge me bit, but that actually leads to him throwing the fucking glass through the mirror. That leads to him finding the secret compartment to where all the Green Goblin stuff is.
And that sets up the third movie.
Yeah, and that's setting up the third movie. So that there is the end of Spider-Man 2.
And if you're like me and you had never seen these movies before, you kind of feel fucking sick in your stomach knowing that Harry is going to be another big part of
that he's going to be one of the actual, like, main villains of the third. Like, he's been, like, the best friend of the first one, a somewhat villain of the second one, and now he's going to be a full main villain of the third one. And you see that, and he's been the literal worst part. It's very, doesn't look very good for the third one, if I gotta say. But I guess we'll have to see when we review it, huh?
Yes, which we literally will do in like 20 minutes.
So before we get into that though, what would you rate this movie?
I would give this one like a 9 out of 10.
Nice, really?
Yeah, it was really
I
good.
would give this one a 10 out of 10 personally, just because it makes me fucking cry I honestly could not imagine believe how much it made me cry when we watched it.
Yeah.
It was very impactful. I definitely will watch that movie again, like, relatively soon, just because I haven't watched it in so long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just a movie. I think maybe the 10 is for nostalgia because there is the Harry bit that I don't really care for, but it's like, other than that, I love fucking everything about this movie. We didn't talk about, like, Peter a whole lot. I mean, we talked about Peter a bit more towards the end or whatever, but it's like Peter's so much better in this movie. Obviously, Doc Ock is just in this movie, and he's so fucking good.
Yeah.
You get a lot of J. Jonah Jameson and his kind of goofy shit in this movie, which is always fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just, I would recommend 10 out of 10.
Hell yeah.
Soon, we'll be back soon to rate and review Spider-Man 3. So if you did like this review, make sure to follow and just stick around, because like we said, we'll be back with Spider-Man 3 soon. So
hell yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. You sure you don't have any closing thoughts?
No, I just wanted to read out Rose's. Yeah, this was like an 8 out of 10 for me. Super, super solid.
Yeah, that's pretty decent. Good score.
Yeah.
Good enough score. But we're going to rate Chilled just because let's raid someone during the meantime, but I will let you guys know when we'll be back. But either way, I'll talk to you guys in a bit.
Bye.
Bye-bye.